Greetings, friends. This is Steve Dupuy for the Bible News Prophecy Program with Dr. Bob Thiel, bringing you news and analysis of world events in light of Bible prophecy. Dr. Thiel, has an alien spaceship recently entered our solar system?
Well, according to a Harvard astronomer by the name of Avi Loeb, he says it may have. There's this, it's called a mysterious intracellular object 3I Atlas, and it got as close to the sun as it's supposed to get on October 29th, 2025. And he said it had an unusual trajectory in the way it went. So it looks like it's either an odd coincidence or it's a massive mothership. Okay. And that's what he claimed. And maybe it had intelligent life, but that's all nonsense. Okay. He's delusional. That being said, I've also seen reports where Tucker Carlson has speculated in the past that spiritual entities flew alien vessels. And by the way, I don't think that's impossible. I tend not to think that's the case.
Did Tucker Carlson have anything else to say about aliens?
Yeah, last week it was reported that he gave a speech at Turning Point USA. And he said that modern so-called aliens are just demons, which are described in the Old Testament of the Bible. So these demons are still around. They haven't gone anywhere. Says, the ancient Canaanites worship gods and sacrificed their kids to it. But now demons are more subtle. They claim that they're from star systems and they've traveled the earth from various places. And as humans become more advanced, this is why they're saying this. Now, let me say that I believe that many people who believe they've had an alien encounter with some kind of a spaceship or something, really, if they're not delusional, they really had a demonic encounter. Now, there was something that Scientific American put out, and it's like, nope, it's never aliens. Claims of alien ships visiting Earth always fall short. People still fall for them. The writer says he grew up believing in aliens, saw all these TV shows and movies and all this stuff, and obviously they have to be. But he says then he took up science and started to look at all this stuff and found out it was just baloney. There were scads and scads of nonsense, bad photography, sketchy witnesses, wild speculation, etc. So in the last 30 years, nothing has changed, except instead of calling them UFOs, unidentified flying objects, we tend to call them unidentified aerial phenomena, UAPs. And one thing that happened was that the Department of Defense, now called Department of War, said that sometimes there are things they don't know what these things are. And this made quite a splash in 2017. But are these alien spacecraft? He said he'd bet a lot on no. Anyway, he's a retired computer programmer. He referred to Mike West, a retired computer programmer, prominent UFO skeptic, who's looked at all these videos for more plausible explanations. And he basically says, for example, there was something in the so-called Go Fast video, and it was likely actually to be just a balloon, not an alien from outer space.
Well, if all these UAPs are ultimately determined to be some physical phenomenon, why then are they being claimed to be demons?
Well, because not all have been proven to be physical.
Okay.
But on the other hand, none have been proven to be extraterrestrial aliens. Now, related to UFOs, the Protestant Michael Snyder wrote, extremely strange aircraft are spotting through our skies every single day. It happens around the globe. He says it's obvious that something's going on. Some argue these have extraterrestrial origin. Others say they come from the Earth. And most of these things can be explained as experimental military aircrafts or balloons or whatever. But a lot of things have been happening. And there's a report by somebody called Valentina Ruda-Velez, who said she had clear footage of something that, she was in a private plane, and she thought it was some kind of an alien or whatever. And, we've had various documents related to the U.S. government that supposedly has knowledge of UFOs and possible aliens. And again, there's reports from people all over the world. Now, some of these people are just con artists. Some are delusional. They speak from their own imaginations, from what they glean from movies. Yet some may have encountered something, and many are intrigued by the possibilities. Now, I've got another article from the Sleuth Journal. It says, are there really aliens from outer space? It says, God's Spirit clearly says, in the last days, some will abandon the truth and follow lying demons. That's a translation of 1 Timothy 4:1. And they also mentioned about 90% of the population believes in aliens from outer space, which, by the way, is more than the population that claims belief in Jesus. Said, but radio telescopes have been looking for all corners of the heavens 365 days a year for over 5 decades for a single radio transmission, and they can only find ones from the Earth. And says various ones who were considered UFO experts finally concluded that they're not from outer space, but they're from Earth. And some of these people, for example, who believe in UFOs before, like Jacques Vallée and J. Allen Hynek, concluded that these aliens are really demons instead. And said, why would these creatures, if they're truly humanoids from other planets, why would they invoke the name Jesus when they're speaking to people? Mm-hmm. Okay. So this seems like, for these cases, these would be demonic. So anyway, that's from that article. Well, anyway, the Bible clearly teaches that angels and demons have been to the earth. Now, you can make an argument that they could be considered as extraterrestrials or aliens from outer space or from another dimension, that dimension being the spirit realm, which includes demons, but not a multiverse universe like modern entertainment sometimes pushes. Now, that said, it's more than just believers in unidentified flying objects that have been affected by demons from the spirit world.
You say the Bible teaches that demons have been to Earth. Can you cite any examples outside of the Bible?
Sure. Something that claimed to be from space appeared to 3 small children in Fatima, Portugal, about once a month for 6 months back in 1917. And popes of the 20th century, 21st century have been believers in these appearances. And the apparition was asked where it was from, and it pointed up that way. Now, whatever appeared there, and by the way, I do believe something did. It was not Jesus' mother, Mary, as many hoped. The lady that appeared resembled the pagan goddess Diana. You can see that right here in the back of a book I wrote. And it never said it was called Mary. By the way, for more information on this, we have a free ebook called Fatima Shock that people can find at ccog.org for that particular set of demonic encounters. There's actually a lot of evidence of demonic influence or visitations on the earth.
What kind of evidence?
Well, for example, in August of 2016, there were paranormal sounds, moved objects, and even a levitated chihuahua in Scotland that was reportedly seen even by the Scottish police. Now, these are demonic when they're real, and it tend to be called poltergeists. Now, dictionary.com defines poltergeist as a ghost or spirit supposed to manifest in presence by noise, knockings, etc. And beyond that, there have been many apparitions with messages claimed to be from God that have been documented over the last 1,000 years. Now, some of these apparitions have claimed to be saints, some have claimed to be angels. And while none of these are dead saints, the vast majority of actual apparitions would be fallen angels, which we tend to call demons.
Can we expect to see increases in such demonic paranormal activity?
Yeah, according to the Apostle Paul. I'm going to go to 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, starting verse 3. He warns, let no one deceive you by any means, for that day will not come until the falling away comes first, and the man of sin is revealed, the son of perdition, who opposes and exalts himself above all that's called God or that's worshipped. So he sits as God in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. Verse 5, don't you remember when I was still with you, I told you these things. And now you know what is restraining, that he may be revealed in his own time. For the mystery of lawlessness is already at work. Only he who now restrains will do so until he's taken out of the way. So demonic influence has been restrained, but it's going to be taken out of the way in terms of the end. Continuing, verse 8 of the 2 Thessalonians 2, then the lawless one's going to be revealed, who the Lord will consume with the breath of his mouth and destroy with the brightness of his coming. The coming of the lawless one is according to the working of Satan, like his demons, etc., with all power, signs, and lying wonders, and with unrighteous deception among those who perish, because they did not receive the love of the truth, that they may be saved. For this reason, God will send them strong delusion that they should believe the lie, that they all may be condemned who did not believe the truth, but had pleasure in unrighteousness.
So the restrainer is restraining the lawless one who, through the power of Satan, deceived those who refused the love of the truth. How many is God allowing to be deceived?
Well, from the scripture, we see just about everybody's going to be deceived. Now, deception to be clever to work needs some type of verification. And throughout history, multitudes have already been deceived by signs and wonders from statues and alleged apparitions of Jesus and Mary, as well as other demonic manifestations. They have felt this was proof that some false religion was true. But Christians are supposed to walk by faith, not by sight, 2 Corinthians 5:7. And I want to read from 1 John 4, verse 1. Beloved, don't believe every spirit, but test the spirits whether they are of God.
Just how are we to go about testing the spirits?
Well, most incorrectly feel they can properly discern them by their own feelings, and that's not true. Even most real Christians end times aren't going to be able to fully do that. A few years back on the Protestant TBN channel, I saw a news item where a Roman Catholic woman was excited about speaking in tongues, etc. She talked about signs and wonders, and the Protestant commentator was encouraging this belief. Signs and lying wonders are associated with the ecumenical movement. In the future, it's likely that the interfaith movement will employ Marian signs and other ideas as tools for improper unity for those who are not true biblical Christians.
Who or what is the ecumenical movement and the interfaith movement so that we can be aware of it or them?
Well, you've got groups like the Vatican, World Council of Churches, some Muslim groups are all kind of getting together. And Satan has a plan, and deceit, signs, and lying wonders are part of it, and it involves a false gospel. Now, the Apostle Paul warned in Galatians 1, verse 8, but if even we or an angel from heaven preach any other gospel to you that we preach to you, let him be accursed. Notice that Paul says, yes, there can actually be false religious messages from actual angels, and those would be demons. Mm-hmm. Not all the unexplained paranormal activities from someone's imaginations. Demonic spirits with false messages are real. But sadly, paranormal activity, Marian claimed apparitions, modern entertainment, etc., have conditioned people to accept these type of manifestations. Now, the Bible in the book of Revelation warns, Revelation 13, that all the world's going to worship the beast, and there's going to be a dragon who's going to work various great signs to make you have fire come down from heaven to convince people that this is all right. Mm-hmm. And if you go to Revelation 16, verse 13, we read that demons are going to be involved with the beast and the false prophet. It says, John wrote, and I saw 3 unclean spirits like frogs come out of the mouth of the dragon, out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophet. For they're the spirit of demons performing signs. Now we're getting closer to fulfillment of those verses in Revelation, likely within the next decade or two. Expect to see more verified paranormal activity. That's part of Satan's demonic plan. Don't fall for it.
Thank you, Dr. Thiel. For more interviews with Dr. Thiel, in addition to written as well as audio articles, visit our website at BibleNewsProphecy.net. This is Steve Dupuis for the Bible News Prophecy Program.